Welcome all our faithful viewers back to Two Brothers Podcast. My name is Vincent Lovett, and always with me, Malik Patterson. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. How are you?
That's always good to hear. I'm doing great, man. So it's been a while. It's been a while since we've been back at it. First one of the new year, we got to make it great. We got to make it special. We got to make it better than how 2020 was for the most of us, and damn near all of us. So, how we plan on doing that?
We can start off by congratulating Devontae Smith for winning the Heisman. Dang, I wish he had a soundboard.
I know. Hit it with the yay! Yay!
He is the fourth wide receiver to win a Heisman. The first one was John Rogers, then it was Tim Brown, then Desmond Howard. Now he's the fourth. He truly is the backbone of that Alabama team. I know the Alabama team it's got so many moving pieces, and without Waddle, everybody was like, how are they going to make it? But they got so many good receivers and a great running back core, because it's not just Najee Harris. They got a true freshman who's electric. He's pretty fast. He's like, I would say Najee's like the true like power back. So I would say he's like the Thunder, and then their true freshman, I can't think of his name right now, but he's number 21. He's like the lightning out of the bottle.
Mhm.
Mac Jones is pretty solid. I mean, it's a pretty good team. So going into the national championship, I still have Alabama winning versus Ohio State, only because that Ohio State offense, I don't know how well they're going to be clicking on all cylinders. I don't know how many weapons they truly have, because we only got a small sample size. We've seen them play 7 games this season.
Right.
I mean, granted, it's only half of what they would already be playing, but most of those games, I didn't get to catch all of those games. I got to catch the latter half, and one of the major games I watched was them playing against Northwestern, which wasn't a good showing for Justin Fields.
Okay, I see what you're talking about. Shoot, I was kind of wondering about, like, in comparison to, like, or somewhat decent players in comparison to Alabama. I kind of see why you wouldn't be so confident in Ohio State when they play against Alabama in the championship. Granted, I do have Alabama winning as well, but I didn't watch as many games as you did for Ohio State. I kind of focused mainly on Fields when I watched them, but I don't really see them. I still don't see them even performing to how they've been performing, like how they did in the last game. I don't see them. I don't see them taking over when it really matters. Alabama has a nice team, nice squad, like they do every year, so it's always hard to beat them. But they seem to be playing with like a new energy, newfound enthusiasm, which I like. I like to see that in the team. But I'm going to give it up to Alabama. They're going to win it again. And shoot, I forgot his name that fast. But Devontae, it's sad to say this for somebody like a teammate for him to say, but he should be grateful that Waddle did get hurt, so to speak. If Waddle was still playing, I don't think he would have won Heisman. He had to share most of the catches with him when he was playing. So that's why I kind of is more of like a tit for tat, so to speak.
I mean, granted, they still have a pretty good receiver core. Like Mechie's still another good prospect as well.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Mechie's only a sophomore, so I think he has one more year, if I'm not mistaken, or he might be a junior, but who knows? I still think, even though Waddle didn't play, I still think he's going to go pretty high in the draft. I think he's going to be a second round pick, the latest.
Teams are still going to teams are still want to draft him because everybody needs decent receivers,
which is very true.
Mm-hmm.
To transition, I know we were talking about the fight that has been kind of highly anticipated. Javante Davis or Tank versus Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia won last Saturday versus Luke Campbell, but we also got to see Ryan Garcia look kind of human in that weight class because he finally hit the deck from taking a straight jab. I believe it was a left jab from Luke Campbell, and then we seen him hit the floor. He got back up and recovered pretty well because, I mean, he got a knockout, so that's another knockout to his record under his belt.
Mm-hmm.
But now we saw Garcia call out Javante Davis. I'll let you lead off on this.
One of the things, with Davis, he kind of I just want to make sure we're clear on this before we get into the topic. I don't really see Davis losing this fight. I do see this about to be one of the great fights we have. It's going to be a great fight to start the year off. I just really hope that this doesn't go into decision because I feel like you may see like another rematch, so to speak. I want to see somebody get knocked down to the ground. That's just the fan in me talking. But once you look at Ryan fight, he has the knockouts for his weight class. He has the power to match his. He has the power that you wouldn't really see in such a small stature body. But if you look at Davis, on the other hand, he has more of the speed to match the power. But it's going to be another issue. The fact that if he can take as many hits from Davis, because I want to say in the fight with Campbell, it didn't really look like he got tagged once or twice, but can he sustain that fight throughout the entire matchup or throughout the entire rounds that's to come? So once it happens, if he be able to stake it, then that's when you're going to see the fights go into the later matches of the round and see whose stamina really is the best. That's the type of matchup we're going to see when Davis and Garcia fight.
Yeah, I mean, you said it all. I mean, I agree with you. I do see Davis winning it. I think he's a more seasoned fighter. Not for anything other than I think he's more seasoned. I think he's more primed for this big stage. He's been fighting longer. And then also he does have a power that I don't think Garcia has faced yet. Because don't get me wrong, Luke Campbell is a good fighter, but the fact that he got knocked down off of a jab says a lot to me as far as you don't want to see him get caught against the ropes like Davis likes to do. Back him down and then catch him with an uppercut. Because if he catches Garcia with an uppercut, it's over. And I can say the same thing in reverse because Garcia has a really strong uppercut and it's really fast. That's probably his specialty. If I were to pick one of his specialties, it would be his right uppercut. But we'll see. They don't have an exact date scheduled. I know they just have the picture of both of them side by side. And I know they were talking mess to each other, so we'll see. Hopefully, we get to see it in the latter half of this year. I want to say May the latest. I would hope. I don't know how fast their turnaround is per fight. I don't know if they need 6 months or whatever the case may be.
Usually when I know for UFC, for example, they want to fight as many times as they can because that's how they end up getting. They get more of a paycheck towards the end of the year. Those bonuses really matter.
Mm-hmm.
They generally want to wait somewhat. Like the camps for each fight going into it could be as short as 1 week, or it could be as long as 6 weeks going into the fight. But they still need time to recover. They still need time to heal the injuries that they may have succumbed to in their last fight. So, like you said, maybe around May, around the month of May might be the decent time for a fight, but I would expect a little bit later. So maybe June, July at the latest.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. And then supposed to be other fights coming. I know Mike Tyson said he wanted to fight again sometime this year. He wanted another exhibition. There's supposed to be one of the Logan Paul. All right, is that his name?
Or Jake.
Okay, Logan and Jake. Logan called out Conor McGregor, I think, and he had the money for the fight, but then McGregor, supposedly from his standpoint, I don't really follow that, but apparently he backed out. So it's supposed to be like a $50 million fight, but apparently Conor McGregor backed out. Is what I was told because he's prepping for real fights in UFC, not exhibitions.
Speaking of which, his fight against Dustin Poirier is going to be in the month of January on January 23rd. He's going to fight Dustin Poirier. So that should be a good match to watch up on. If one of the Paul brothers wants to learn how to really fight somebody. And granted, this is a UFC match, not a boxing match. So.
And then the older brother, so Jake Paul, I believe. I don't know. I really don't care, but he's supposed to be fighting Floyd Mayweather in another exhibition. I think what we were saying off mic was they think that they can actually fight now because they've won a few exhibitions versus other celebrities and other retired athletes. and they've been fully training. So it's like, okay, to me it's a difference. Like I understand Nate Robinson got knocked out, but not just Nate Robinson, but you're fighting other people who aren't fully committed to training in boxing. And that's all you guys do in your spare time, besides like, making YouTube videos and doing promotions and ads and stuff to make your money, however you make your money. As being a content creator, you guys are training in boxing. So now that now that you called out an actual boxer, but not just a boxer, you called out one of the greatest boxers of all time,
Exactly.
if not the greatest boxer of all time. I don't think, I'm going to say it on record, I don't think he's going to land an actual legitimate punch on him. I think he'll land a punch once he starts to get tired and starts to try to grab him, or if he backs him into the corner. Those are the only two options I see him landing an actual punch. But I just think with Floyd being the fastest and the most skilled defensive fighter to ever fight, I don't see how you can touch him in an open ring, in a real boxing ring where it's actually like legit, not an exhibition. I mean, I know it's an exhibition, but Floyd never takes anything as like an exhibition. You know what I'm saying? Like Floyd is always going to be Floyd, and he's always going to put his best foot forward.
It's wild to think. It's wild to think of this. Like, can you imagine they do fight? Everybody and their mama gonna put money down on Floyd beating him in, let's say, round 1, round 2. But what if it goes like round 3, round 4, and he's staying with him, hanging with him? At that point, I'm gonna realize something's up. They fixed the money in Vegas or something like that is happening right now. Because I do not. He doesn't have a glass water in hell chance of winning this fight. It's not even gonna look fair because like you're legit fighting against somebody who trained night and day, who realized like this was his way out. While you training boxing for fun. Like you doing this in your free time. He made like he said, Floyd retired as one of the best boxers ever. He has it under his belt. One of the Paul brothers is going to say, I was in the ring with Floyd Mayweather. McGregor said that too. He still lost. So is it really worth anything?
It's like trying to run a full Oklahoma drill versus Luke Kuechly, and you got the ball, but you're on the goal line. So if you cross the goal line, you win. If you don't, then of course you don't. But it's like, okay, so what I mean to the people who don't know what I'm saying is you have two linemen laying on their back, and then you have the ball. Luke Kuechly is the linebacker, so it's 4 of you. It's a total of 4. So the 2 linemen get up before you 2 get up, and they go at it, and they're pushing each other. So they're going back and forth, stalemating, and literally a half a second, maybe a full second after they get up, the whistle blows for you 2 to get up. And now, as they're pushing each other, of course, the defensive line is trying to get off of the offensive line and make the tackle. But usually, by the time everybody gets up so fast, it doesn't happen unless you just have like this crazy defensive lineman. But then you and Luke Kuechly have to meet each other at that goal line. Just think about that. And the only reason why I said Luke Kuechly is because he's retired, and he just recently retired. Just how Floyd just recently retired. Like Floyd hasn't been retired for 5 years. Luke Kuechly just retired a year ago, 2 years
last year.
Last year. So it's like going against a potential Hall of Famer, because we don't know if Luke Kuechly is a Hall of Famer yet. He had a really short career, but his career when he was playing was amazing, outstanding. I think he should be a second ballot Hall of Famer personally, but that's neither here nor there. You see where I'm headed with that mentally. I just don't see how you would think, oh, I got that. I can do that.
It's like Floyd never lost though. So it makes you think he gonna lose now. To somebody who's less trained, less seasoned, who doesn't really take this shit. Man, it's not gonna end well. It is not.
And I say weighs more because I know when people think about boxing, they think like, okay, if he weighs more, he's got more power behind the punch. I'm not saying weighs more in that aspect. I mean weighs more as in you're not in shape to last 12 rounds or even 9 rounds with Floyd. Because we clearly saw from the Conor McGregor thing, we're like, oh, he's at the top of his game. He's the best UFC fighter in the world right now, which he was.
Mm-hmm. He was.
But it's a different type of shape. You're a different animal when you're in boxing shape and when you're in like when you're ready for an actual boxing match. Granted, that's all they do is train for boxing, but they're exhibition boxing matches. It's 1 to 2 minutes. Actually, it's really like what 1.5 minutes per round. You get a total of 5 rounds or 6 rounds, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
It's not a three. I mean, granted, this is going to be another exhibition. I'm not sure if they're going to go 3 rounds, 3 minutes per round, like a real boxing match.
Right.
Just imagine giving him 3 minutes per round and doing 6 rounds. There's no way he's going to make it.
No, that's
Even
18.
if Floyd drags it on, I just don't see him making it and having the wind to be able to actually stand and still try to deliver punches in the 5th and 6th round.
Right. Even if it does go to the like quote unquote the end of the 6th round, it's the exhibition match. I don't think the judges, unless it's a knockout, he's not going to say he has like the moral victory in this fight. So if Paul really wants to do this, I'm not going to stop him. Let him do what he got to do. But this is stupid. I'll be the first to say stupid.
I mean, just go call it like we see it.
Yeah, I mean, call it a spade. He ain't a spade though.
Transition into basketball. So the NBA is back and college basketball is back. I know we haven't really talked about college basketball, but one thing we can say before we get into the NBA is now completely official that the entire men's NCAA tournament from the round of 64, actually even before the round of 64. So the first 4 in when it's 72 teams before they get to the round of 64. When it's total of 72 teams, all 72 teams will be in the state of Indiana. And they said a majority of the games, so I'm going to say about 75% of the games will be played in Indianapolis. And that's going to be from the beginning of the tournament all the way through the Final Four to the national championship.
That's good because at least they saw how well it worked out for the NBA with the bubble in Orlando. They had no cases of it. Nobody came down with no positive cases of COVID. So if they can continue adopt that same format that NBA used, they should be fine. Granted, this is a whole lot more people, a lot more teams being played in this state, but it should work out. It should work out. I hope it does work out because one of the things that as a college basketball fan, I did miss out on March Madness. Even if my favorite team probably wasn't going to win it, I still love to see it. You can see the next generation of basketball stars get groomed for that moment. So you get to see a lot for how a person really is in those situations.
Very true. Granted, I don't think either one of our teams will be in there because our teams are so terrible this year. AKA North Carolina, I'll say it first.
Yeah.
And then Kentucky Roy Williams, John Calipari. This is actually surprisingly, since they've both been the head coaches at respective universities, I think this might be the first time that either one of these two teams may not make the tournament. Granted, we still have the individual tournaments. So there's still the SEC tournament, and there's still the ACC tournament that they have to play in because you're guaranteed. I mean, even if you win one game in your entire season, you still make it into your school, into the your conference tournament.
Yeah, exactly.
So it doesn't matter. And if you win your conference tournament, no matter what your loss schedule is like, it says a lot when you're in a Power 5 school, in a Power 5 conference like both of these teams are. So that might get them in. So if you guys win your tournament or if we win our tournament, then it'll be like, okay, well, let's put them in. They may not be high, but we'll put them in.
Exactly.
I think that we'll both do good in our respective conference tournaments, which we have another 2 months before those start, because those start in the beginning of March.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, end of February, beginning of March is when those start. But we'll see. I mean, for my team, in a nutshell, we have a lot of good bigs, good young bigs. Like we have 6 incoming freshmen. One of the incoming freshmen, actually 3 of the incoming freshmen that we had this season were top 25 players. And the top player that we had was Day'Ron Sharpe, who's a power forward, who came from Montverde Academy in Florida, which I mean that was clustered with a bunch of star-studded talent. That honestly, like I was telling you the day before, a few days ago, actually a few weeks ago, at Montverde High School team, the starting five of that team will make the NBA, I believe, and I believe they'll be known as probably one of the greatest high school teams to ever be assembled. I know we're talking about Chino Hills with that team, but that Montverde team was absolutely amazing.
It's still weird. It's still weird to think about that. Usually, when you think of like an entire team, like entire starting lineup being that good, the first thing that comes to your mind is like the Fab Five. But you think it's in high school, so like just imagine their potential where they could end up though. So because they clearly know how to win. That's not the issue here. It's just more or less that can they achieve their full potential. And I know that's a double-edged sword when you're talking about players, but if they can achieve that, if they can reach to the greatest heights, sky's the limit for them.
You want to talk about your team, or we want to just move on?
Move on. They know that they know. It's just like there's nothing good about it. Like they're getting. It's not like how it was when Karl Anthony Towns, AD, or DeMarcus Cousins was there. They have no interior presence. It makes it that much more harder. And I feel as if like it's okay. I want to say it's somewhat. It's not really John Calipari's fault. It's the fact that you see the players. I'm going to stand by this wholeheartedly. The players that you see that's in the G League right now, who came straight out of high school, straight to the G League. Those were the players that you would expect to see at these one and done schools, mainly Kentucky. So we kind of shorthanded ourselves in this scenario because this is how we became relevant. This is how we became known. When we had these one and done players, when we started with John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, and it got all the way up to where we are now. Yeah, we had some stars. We also had some hiccups too, as in Brandon Knight, and I don't want to consider Michael Kidd Gilchrist a
Nerlens Noel.
Stop it. He's somewhat okay with that.
He's trash.
Okay with the Dallas Mavericks.
He's trash.
Like I said, he's the one and done. We exploited that one and done rule, and now we reap what we sow. We may not make the playoffs again in the past decade. It's maybe the second time, but
and there's a lot of like it's not just your guys' team. I mean, there's a lot of top rated number one in the nation athletes that just don't really pan out in professional sports across the board. I mean, we can talk. I mean, since we're already on basketball, we can talk about Josh Jackson. Josh Jackson was number one in his class coming out of high school, number one in the NBA draft. Hasn't really done nothing with the Phoenix Suns. Stanley Johnson was the number one, is still the number one high school player to come out of California ever. He won 4 state titles with Mater Dei. Like that's never been done before from freshman year to senior year. He's won 4 state titles and I think 3 CIF titles because they lost to Etowanda his junior year in CIF and they went back, beat them in regionals and then went to state because they played each other like 3-4 times that year, whatever the case may be. So there's some hiccups, but just to kind of like finalize how good that Montverde team is, the number one person on that team and the number one person that went to college, because I know a lot of them went to the G League. So the number one player from that senior class that went to college, I actually went to a college, his name is Cade Cunningham. Right now, Cade Cunningham plays for Oklahoma State, and he averages 19.1 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists, and he's 45.5% from the field.
Number one pick.
Oklahoma State is 7-3 right now, so they're most likely gonna. I mean, they're gonna make their tournament. They're probably gonna make the big dance. I don't know how far they'll make it in the big dance, but that's number one. That's a top 5 draft pick right there. Look at those numbers that he's putting up. Like, so it just goes to show you just never know. I mean, you have solid players like this, but we don't know how he'll turn out in the actual, like in the big dance or how he'll play in professionals. But right now, he's on that path. So
we got to make a segment about that. Players that was great in high school or great in college turn out to be complete bust when they get to college or get to the pros. Because look, I could think of a few. You got Kwame Brown, you got Greg Oden,
Bynum.
man, Bynum. You know, here's one I'm kind of mad about too. This one I'm truly going to blame injury on. So I don't think he was a bust. Brandon Roy. I don't think he was a bust. Injury just caught up to him. It really sucks.
We're talking about injury catching up, and not.
That's considered a bust. You were supposed to be the franchise, the face of the team, and you couldn't. Well, his leg, but you got some stuck in your throat, man. You should fix it.
I said Derrick Rose.
Yeah.
Nothing stuck in my throat.
You won the MVP. You can't be a bust if you got the MVP.
What has he done since then? What have you done for me lately? That's all that matters. What have you done for me lately?
I ain't saying he's in the Hall of Fame.
Flack from a lot of Bulls fans and a lot of Derrick Rose fans. But for all intents and purposes of what you consider a bust, I understand his bust isn't the same because he's well loved. He's liked by all the NBA legends. He's liked by the current legends that are still playing the game. He might even go into the Hall of Fame based off of his popularity, which I don't think he deserves to go, because if we look at his numbers, barring the injuries, even when he came back from the injuries, he's never been the same player. But we've seen several players get injured and come back and still be good.
You're a point guard.
I won't say the bust, but he's teeter-tottering on the bust train. He's leaning more towards bust than he is towards Hall of Fame, to me.
All right, if you consider him to be a bust, he's going to be the only MVP player on that bust train that you just said. You won't be able to tell me another one who won that award and still was considered a bust for their entire career within the NBA.
I can think of another one.
I can't, but I'll gladly wait though.
I'll get back to that. There's got to be another.
If you know the answer to that, please add it in the comments when we finally post this. Now, another bust. Brandon Knight really sucked. Oh, another bust. Jabari Parker. I thought he was supposed to be the man. He's supposed to be the new.
Jaleel before.
Yeah, I saw that coming. It was a matchup they had against. It was a matchup they had when they lost in the. No, did they lose? Wait a minute. Did Duke ever lose? Did Duke lose when they had Jabari Parker? Jaleel Okafor? They won it all that year, didn't they? I know they won once. I know it was once. But point I'm trying to say is there was a matchup where he played against another big. He got exposed. And he just couldn't get rebounds. They made him shoot the ball. He had no lifeline in the paint. And that made me start to think about these traditional bigs.
Oh, they did win. I think that was the year they went undefeated too.
Would not surprise me. I think Kentucky lost to them. I think it was the Final Four or Elite Eight. It was that whoever they played against really exposed Jaleel Okafor.
I'm trying to think. Can you keep talking while I look this up? They had 4 losses.
But yeah, Jaleel Okafor, he showed why it showed how the relevancy of these traditional bigs, how back to the basket doesn't work no more. It was at that moment I realized it's just not going to pan out. You don't really need to see like the big that plays for Iowa right now. He's more prominent. He's more athletic. He's a way better prospect than I think Jaleel Okafor was when he was in college. But I don't see his game translating when he gets to the pros. They're going to ask him to do either be a great defensive player, which he showed that he can be, or they're going to ask him to step out from the paint and shoot more jump shots, which he showed that he can do. But the traditional back to the basket it's not going to work. and that's kind of why I see most bigs are shying away from. Like Bol, for example, when he was in Oregon, he did a great job of being able to mix it up and score in multiple ways.
He was hitting threes.
My point exactly. Sitters need to diversify their game, but that kind of takes away from what they're really known for doing: being bigs, getting rebounds, getting blocks. Bobo doesn't really do that.
I mean, granted, centers look awkward shooting a three, no matter what. It don't matter what center it is, whether it's Joker or it's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Like, it doesn't matter how offensively good you are as center. It just looks awkward seeing you shoot a three because you got to they bring their hands up completely over their head and they just kind of like flick it at the top. And they're so tall and it's so high up. It's like a beeline drive into the basket. It's like hardly any arc on it. It's like it's straight into the basket.
But it's like who can really block that though? Like imagine if Yao Ming was shooting a jump shot. Who can really block that?
We call it a jump shot if he doesn't jump though. Because all these centers don't jump when they shoot the ball. When they shoot the ball outside, like when they're 20 feet out shooting the ball, there's not really a whole lot of jumping that they do. It's kind of like a
set shot. Yeah, little baby.
Kind of like roll to their tippy toes and just.
But like I said, that still diversifies. That still validates what I'm trying to say. You can't really block that shot. I'm not saying it's the sky hook that Magic had or Kareem had, but they can't really block it. So and all you do is make it. Then is it really no harm, no foul?
True. Okay, well, on to the NBA. The team who is full of, they're not bust, but they feel like bust to me. But I don't know, like my version of bust is a little bit different. The Philadelphia 76ers are one of the best teams in basketball, and so are the Phoenix Suns. Who would have thought? Not me. But they're doing pretty hot right now. They're hot. They're doing pretty good. Phoenix looks like they're actually going to buy a solid playoff spot, which we've said before. I thought they were going to be 7 or 8. You said 4 or 5. They look more 4 or 5-ish to me right now. So,
you know what's crazy? I was high on them and I was great. I was right for that, but I was also wrong about another team. The T-Wolves are not doing what I expected them to do. They're not playing at the level I saw them to do. So I had the Suns being like 4th or 5th. They might be third or 4th now, looking at taking the T-Wolves spot at the end of the season. But
you see,
I'm not surprised though.
There will be no slander of the T-Wolves or of Karl Anthony Towns because of all of the tragedy that Karl Anthony Towns has gone through. So you will hear no slander from me this entire season on the T-Wolves, even though it's so easy to slander the Timberwolves. It's so easy. But I'm going to refrain from any slander. They aren't looking good, but Anthony Edwards does look good.
Yeah, surprising. You would think.
I mean, ESPN, of course, is going to focus most of their highlight attention towards LaMelo. We all saw that coming. So LaMelo looks like the early bid for Rookie of the Year, but that's not based off of his play. That's more so based off of the hype and the popularity around him right now. I think because they put him in every highlight on social media and on TV, that it's just, I mean, that's the only person people are going to remember his name is him.
Exactly.
We'll see.
Yeah. Another one to look out for. I still want to see how well. I want to see Anthony Edwards develop his game better. And I'm not saying he's going to be the last second shot taker for the team, but I just want him to be more efficient. I feel like if he was more efficient for what he was doing when he has the ball in his hands, he would be the front runner for the MVP or Rookie of the Year, not LaMelo. And there's also other players you can also mention as well. But like you said about the team, they're not coming to my head. Tyrese Halliburton for the Keys. He's doing a decent job being a backup for De'Aaron Fox. Decent.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not getting his name. He's not getting much publicity as LaMelo. So
Isaiah Maxey, is that his name?
Kentucky.
Isaiah Maxey's been doing pretty good for the Knicks. He hit that game winner. Actually, he kind of really broke down. What team did they beat? Was it Atlanta? That he kind of broke down Atlanta. It was either Atlanta or the Nets a couple days ago. I can't remember, but Atlanta's playing pretty good. John Collins is starting to come into the player that he's supposed to be, and then of course, what's his name? I can't think of his name right now. The point guard,
Trae Young.
Trae Young is still going to be Trae Young. So Atlanta's looking pretty solid. There's a lot of good young talent, but one thing I'm gonna say to the basketball community: leave LeBron out of your mouth when you're talking about how LeBron has never had a team just as bad as Steph Curry. LeBron's team that he took to the NBA Finals in 2007 is a lot worse than the team Steph Curry has right now, because name a potential Hall of Famer on that team besides LeBron.
Gauskas.
Shut up.
Very
You have on that team. You still have Draymond on that team. Of course, Clay's not playing, but so you have Steph, Draymond, Andrew Wiggins was super hyped. He's a bust. Kelly Oubre is decent. We still don't know what James Wiseman could do. James Wiseman can win Rookie of the Year. Still,
could. He's going to need the play of his entire team to pick him up.
They have a team is a lot better than what LeBron had back then. I can make several Cleveland LeBron James teams that are way worse than the team that he has.
I just want you to know that starting lineup: Eric Snow, Delonte West, Anderson Varejao, Gauskas, and LeBron at the three. That was his team.
Sounds like a Hall team, but you have one Hall of Famer.
And he was
one Hall of Famer in, I think, one Hall of Famer and 2 All-Stars with Ilgauskas.
Mm-hmm. He was All-Star. That was it. That's the best he got.
The whole team. That's it. So I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. And also, for you Warriors fans and for you Curry fans, the y'all that are just completely oblivious, if they can't make it to at least the 10th seed in the West, we're gonna have to start. I said playoffs. If they can't be the 10th seed in the West with this team currently this year, we're gonna start having another conversation about how great Steph Curry is and his legacy. He's changed and revolutionized the game from shooting, but as far as being the best point guard ever, no. As of right now, he's not the best point guard ever, and he's dropping significantly.
Hey man, a bunch of your little brothers are gonna be mad because they used to be all Laker fans. Just so we all clear, back when the 2000s was rolling, they were all Laker fans. And now that they got tired of seeing us winning, or whatever reason they want to say, they wanted to go to the Warriors. But they don't got a leg to stand on. I feel like they're about to jump ship and come back to the Lakers. I'm gonna be very upset if that happens. They wasn't with us in our bad times when we had Robert Center. They're not gonna be they shouldn't be with us now that we got AD and 2 more rings to count. Because we get another ring this year. Just saying.
That's not better than Magic Johnson. And I want the slander to stop. Just because you haven't seen these older players play doesn't mean that they weren't legends. Doesn't mean that they weren't great. I need the slander on legendary point guards to stop.
I need the slander on all legendary players. I don't think. Tell me if I'm wrong. If we had a big like Moses Malone playing in today's era, you mean to tell me he wouldn't be damn near getting 20 points, 20 boards every season?
Yeah, he would, and he would honestly just dominate the paint. He wouldn't even have to
He wouldn't have to step out and go nowhere. He could take his time trotting up the court and still do great.
You said Moses Malone, the best big with the best footwork. I mean, best footwork big.
Footwork big, okay. Footwork.
Hakeem Olajuwon. If Hakeem Olajuwon played in this game today,
yeah,
there would be no conversation about no Anthony Davis. And all due respect to every big in the game, but right now Anthony Davis is playing like the best big in the basketball. Anthony Davis can't hold a candle to Hakeem Olajuwon. I'm just saying. when we're talking about just pure dominance,
Mhm.
like I mean, granted, he had a solid team with him in the championship run for Houston.
Right.
Those two championships, do not get it twisted. Everybody knows who the best player in basketball was, and that was Hakeem Olajuwon.
Here's a little
And
homework
he
lesson.
would have won more if he wasn't having to go against Jordan. Like if he didn't have to go against Jordan, he didn't have to go against these legendary Laker teams or Seattle Supersonics. Like the West was stacked.
Mhm.
He didn't have to go against the stacked West Coast teams. Then he probably would have won more. He just so happened to be one of the best bigs to ever play the game in a really difficult era, which is
Yeah.
why he has 2 rings. But
Yeah.
those are hard fought 2 rings.
I want everybody to do their homework on this one. If anybody who has 2K, go use the all-time Houston Rockets team and tell me. And you're gonna be surprised the fact that you'll see Chris Paul and James Harden on there. That James Harden deserves to be on it, but you're gonna see Moses Malone. You're gonna see Hakeem Olajuwon. He's on that twice. He's on it twice. And one as a power forward, one as a. That tells you how cold this man was. He was literally the best big to lace him up. Like the man was nice. No disrespect, but all I'm saying is that the legends became legends for a reason. Just because you didn't see him play, like you said, does not take away from their greatness. I can go into more detail about it, but that's what being all that.
Okay, I think we spent enough time on basketball. The college football championship is this upcoming Monday. We already talked about that. There was a pretty good other games like Oklahoma surprised me versus Florida, but then Florida didn't have a lot of didn't have a lot of people playing and a lot of receivers. Kyle Trask, as a lot of people are saying, looks like Kyle Trash now.
Yeah,
That's what I've heard. I didn't say it. It wasn't me that started it, but I've heard his draft stock has really been hit, and he's Kyle Trash now. There was a lot of good games. I think Cincinnati got a wake up call, and I wanted them to win so bad, but they let Georgia hang in, and you can't let an SEC team hang in, no matter what SEC team it is, especially when it's a top SEC team because they know how to win in big games.
Mm-hmm.
Except for, I don't like
where this is going.
This whole head coach needing somebody to grab them by their pants and pull them back. I know Kirby Smart had it when in that game where it was Georgia versus Cincinnati, and I know that like the likes of other like reporters such as Pat McAfee saying like you're an adult, be an adult, but it wasn't Kirby Smart that started it. The first person I seen have it done was a few years ago, Sean McVay. Sean McVay, you are 34 years old, so you're young and in shape. You do not need another person to grab you by your to grab you by your waist, grab you by your hips, and all of that. Pause, and pull you and pull you back from running onto the field. I understand you are excited and you're trying to get into the game, but you're an adult. Be an adult. You don't need somebody grabbing you and pulling you back from getting a penalty. It's the most childish thing. It's like, oh, I got this person, so now I can try to run onto the field and argue with the rest. Like, what are you doing? You look crazy. This looks crazy.
Imagine seeing Belichick do that. Like you ain't never gonna see that. Imagine seeing Andy Reid doing that.
Scratch all of that. Imagine seeing Vrabel do that. How big and bulky and stock Vrabel looks like, having another man grab him by his waist to pull him off.
I think he liable to headbutt him just to get him to don't ever do that to me again. He liable to do some shit like that.
You look crazy. You look crazy when you do that. But now that we got that out the way and got the craziness and how crazy they look out of the way.
Now we got this craziness to deal with.
Hold on, let me. Uh-oh.
Woo! You watch a porn? That's crazy.
I did that all wrong. All right, here we go.
You also did wrong is your internship. Ooh, look at that Malik Patterson. Shit, I can't see all of it. You lucky. But to continue from what we was just saying.
Son, why is it tripping? There we go. Okay, there we go. Cool. All right. We're going to get all that technical difficulties off. So now that we were talking about Vrabel and everything, we're going to get right into this playoffs. Super wild card weekend.
I like it. Top to bottom. I like it.
Where do we start? Do we start with the AFC? Do we start with the NFC? Are we just doing wild card weekend? Are we doing the whole thing in our predictions? Actually, we can do the whole thing in our predictions. Where do we start? Do you start and do you go over off yours and I go off mine and we go each round?
Let's go. Let's go for each round. Let's go each round, starting with the wild card in the AFC. Let's start with the big brother versus little brother with the Browns and the Steelers.
Steelers are going to win only because they're more seasoned.
Are you sure about that? They lost. They lost pretty significantly last week, and like they just got that last win.
Starters. They didn't have their starters in. Steelers are going to win because the Steelers are a better defense, and I don't think that. See, actually, you know what? I want to say the Steelers are going to win. I have the Steelers winning. I don't know why I have the Steelers winning, but I have the Steelers pulling off this win because it's something about the Browns being inexperienced in the playoffs and them not having Kevin Stefanski is what's going to make or break this. Now, if they had Kevin Stefanski, I would say the Browns. I mean, granted, he could still probably do play calls like over the phone. They probably got him like on FaceTime or got him on the phone the whole game. He was gonna call from the crib because he tested positive for COVID.
Yeah,
but it's rough. It's a really rough one.
I was just gonna say that their Steelers defense might be their saving grace. Ben hasn't been playing his best game, even when he was playing. He may not play last week, but Ben wasn't the reason why that the Steelers came back and beat the Colts. Ben wasn't the reason why. He was the exact reason why they lost. I say two out of those three losses leading up to that game against the Colts. So you might see if there's ever a point in that game when they start to lose and they bring in Mason Rudolph, Big Ben time is done in Pittsburgh. But still, his defense is without question top notch. So I'm not gonna take that away from them. They still got it. It just might be a close 13-14 game.
Okay. I know this is your team, but I have the Buffalo Bills winning by 7. I have Buffalo Bills winning by 7.
Yeah. I can't go against them. Like that's the squad. I love Darius Leonard and Buchanan. They've been doing their thing. Buckner's, I'll give you a lot of flack, but I'm grateful that you came to the Colts. You exactly was the defensive player that we needed, him and Houston. But no.
I actually got it being low scoring. I got it 24-17 for that particular game. That's one of the only games I got a score predicted in my head.
Okay.
I got it 17.
Yeah, like the Colts is gonna score. Phillip Rivers not gonna cost them the game, but
no, he's not gonna cost them the game. I just don't trust Phillip Rivers in the playoffs. If they had any other quarterback, any other solid quarterback, I would honestly have the Colts making it all the way to the AFC Championship game.
So if we would have got, much to my dismay, if we would have got Tom Brady instead of Phillip Rivers, you think we would have knocked off the Chiefs?
Oh, by far. I don't know if you guys would be better than the Chiefs, just because I still think the Colts need one more person on that defense to make a Super Bowl run. But that defense is primed for a Super Bowl run within the next 3 to 4 years.
Shout out to Andrew Luck. We still miss you.
Bills
are still winning this game. I'm great. I feel like you're gonna see the running backs who mostly get all the scoring for the Colts. They're gonna get a bunch of receiving touchdowns. Then that's just how they're gonna win the game. Or that's gonna be their best chance to win the game, is to make sure Hines and I forgot his name. Taylor. Hines and Taylor become very active in this game. The O-line will do their job to keep Phillip Rivers afloat, but he's going to throw too many picks, and that's just going to ruin the game for us. So I'm calling it 14-24. That's what's going to be the game.
Baltimore. I have Baltimore trying to knock the entire block off Tennessee solely based off of what happened last year.
I got a back
defense trying to prove that even though Derrick Henry is a 2-time rush leader, we are forced to be reckoned with, and I have Baltimore for sure.
The second coming of CJ 2K, and this time he ain't trying to make you miss. He running you over. But I'm rolling with the Titans. it's more or less that, but the Ravens shown this entire season that they're too one-dimensional. You stop them from running, you make them throw the ball, they can't seem to get out of their own way when it comes to that situation. The Titans defense they're not the greatest or they're not the worst stuff, but they can hold you down if need be. And mostly because of that, it's because of their defensive-minded coach. So that's why I feel as if the Titans going to make it 2 for 2 in this year's playoffs. And I ain't saying it's going to be bad. It's going to be a good showing either. I'm saying this is going to be a bad-looking game for the Ravens.
Well, since we got that down, are we doing the other wild card?
Oh, yeah, by far.
Okay, so we're going to the NFC.
Yes, sir.
Seattle is going to beat the dog crap out of the Rams.
You're only saying that because Goff is not playing.
Even if Goff was playing, that last showing that they played against each other wasn't a close game. I mean, I know the score says it was close, but it wasn't close. Like, if you actually watched the game, that game wasn't close. It was just Seattle would make mistakes on offense to where they didn't score. I think Seattle is going to dog walk the Rams, even though the Rams have two of the best defensive players and two candidates for Defensive Player of the Year in Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald again for the third straight year. But by far, Jalen Ramsey looks like the best corner in football. Again, he looks like prime Jalen Ramsey again.
His first year when he was playing with the Jacksonville Jags. Yeah, I see it.
But yeah, I got Seattle.
Same. I got Seattle. But this is a divisional matchup, so they're gonna make it close no matter what. They play each. It's gonna be the third time they play each other this year. They know each other's tendencies. They know each other's strengths and weaknesses. But LA without Jared Goff is really going to put a damper on what they're going to want to do as an offensive standpoint. Sean McVay may be an offensive guru, but he can't make water out of toilet wine. He can't make water out of toilet wine, man. It ain't gonna happen. So Seattle. It's not going to be bad. It's not going to be bad as I thought the Titans and the Titans win and over the Ravens are going to be, but it's going to be at least 2 scores.
I'm sorry, Dad, but I got New Orleans, even with no running back, winning by a touchdown. Only a touchdown. Actually, 10 points. I got New Orleans winning by 10 points. 14-24 in this. Is what I kind of have, only because that Chicago offense, I don't know what Mitch Trubisky's going to play like. And I understand you have a pretty good playoff backup quarterback, a Super Bowl winning backup quarterback. I don't know. Maybe they might do better because Nagy's not calling the plays anymore and he took his hands off the offensive play calling, but I still have the Saints beating them.
I got the Saints winning too, but it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a close game. It may come down to a last-second field goal or what, but the Saints are still going to win it. I trust wholeheartedly in Khalil Mack. You know, he's still one of the best defensive players. He can still impact the game, whether it's in the first quarter or it's the fourth quarter. He will make his presence known. But I still don't trust their offense, even with Nick Foles on their squad. I still don't trust them. So better luck next year.
Okay. I'm sorry, New York Giants fans. For all intents and purposes, I wanted you guys to win. I wanted the Eagles to win so you guys can make the playoffs. But it's Doug Peterson's fault. And apparently, it's not only Doug Peterson's fault, but apparently somebody in the higher up, a.k.a. Harry Roseman, said, hey, Doug, we'd rather have the 6th overall pick than have, like, the 16th or whatever. It was like, if they lose, we go all the way up to the 6th. If we win, we drop pretty far. So they was like, we'd rather take the 6th overall pick, and here you go, Ron Rivera. Get yourself in the playoffs. So, but I do have Tampa Bay winning. The only thing is this is going to be a lot closer because the only way you can beat Tom Brady, especially in the playoffs, is if you have 4 defensive linemen who can rush the quarterback. What does Washington football team have that helps them win all the games that they won this season? 4 defensive linemen with 1 potential rookie of the year on the defensive side of the ball who can rush the quarterback.
Montez Sweat and Chase Young. That it feels so vicious the way they attack the offensive tackles. It's nice to see. Coming from a defensive minded and DN player is nice to see. So I want Washington to win. They're not going to win. I do feel like it's some sort of a y'all had a plan. Y'all did not want the Giants to get in. Y'all said F them and everything that they stand for. Y'all just mad because
that wasn't me. That was not me. Divisional round. I have Green Bay beating Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Only because Green Bay, I think, is a better suited team overall. Like I don't think they have better players. I think Tampa Bay has the best like players, personnel. It's like Tampa Bay, Kansas City, and the Saints have like the best personnels. Besides Buffalo. Buffalo would be like fourth. But I don't see Tampa Bay beating Green Bay right now.
It's gonna be a shootout. You can't say that. You can't say that this game will not be a shootout. And even though the Buccaneers coach is defensive heavy, it's still gonna be a shootout. Aaron Rodgers is he most likely to be the MVP this year. So he's not going to let this be the Tampa Bay team come into his house and lose. I don't see that happening. No matter how you want to slice it.
And then I have the Saints beating Seattle. I see everybody coming back that week. And if they have everybody back and they're healthy that week, then I have the Saints playing like the fully powered Saints that they are and beating Seattle. If they can beat Seattle, then you'll see why I'll do the rest as we continue.
I'm going on the opposite side. I don't think Saints will be able to match up against them. Seattle's been. I want to say they're going to have quote unquote their legs underneath them. They may not be as rested as the players coming back for the Saints, but they're going to be ready. They're not going to need to get hit one or two times to really start getting into the swing of the game. They're going to jump into the deep end of the water, and they're going to just go. So I see the Seattle winning this game over the Saints, and it's not going to be a blowout. It's not going to be a close game. It's going to be make this field goal so we can go to the next week. That's just how the game is going to go. You make it, and you get paid, or you miss it, and you fire. Pat McAfee told us how this shit works.
I have the Buffalo Bills beating the Steelers.
You think they're ready for this? This will mean a lot. This will mean a lot if Buffalo can do it. Just so we're clear. Now I'm not saying like oh we finally made it to the AFC. If they beat the Steelers, this will prove to me that they can really go all the way. And you were gonna say a blowout too. I got the same thing. If they can really blow out the Steelers, this will truly show me they are ready for this. They've been living under the Patriots' thumb for so long. This will show to me that they finally ready to be the man. 25 years later.
I have Kansas City beating Baltimore. As much as it pains me to say, I still have Kansas City beating Baltimore. I don't think that Baltimore is ready and seasoned. But when Lamar Jackson finally does beat Patrick Mahomes, it won't be a regular season game. It'll be a playoff game.
It's a game that matters.
It'll be a game that matters in the playoffs, such as when Peyton Manning finally beat Tom Brady, it was in the playoffs.
It's true. And they end up going to the championship, beating the Bears and everything.
I think it's the exact same ship. I think it's the same story that's written. When he finally does it, it's going to be when it matters, but I don't think this year is the year. Then, drum roll, please. I have Buffalo beating Kansas City in the AFC Championship.
Okay. Now, granted, I have the Chiefs beating the Titans, but same thing. Doesn't matter. But I digress. If Allen really it have became the superstar that he was meant to be, which I didn't expect it, then by all means, show us that they belong to be in this top tier quarterbacks, these higher echelon of multi-max $1 million contracts that he deserves to get. Beat Patrick Mahomes when it matters. Beat Big Ben when it matters. And nobody cares about Phillip Rivers, but you get the point.
Who do you have in the AFC Championship? You never picked a team. You said that.
Oh, I said Buffalo, and the Chiefs. It was easy.
Buffalo Chiefs. Okay.
Buffalo and the Chiefs. That's why I don't like to agree with you all the time. I'm basically reiterating myself. So what I'm gonna say is I'm gonna agree with you.
Buffalo and the Chiefs.
Yeah, Buffalo. the Chiefs don't have a decent run stopping. They can just run the ball if shit really hits the fan. Their Chiefs defense became very sus to me, and I just feel I don't trust it all the way. I trust Tyrann Mathieu. I don't trust the entire defense.
That Chiefs defense was sus since last year. It's just the first time we've ever seen an offense win a Super Bowl.
My point exactly.
Pure offense just win a Super Bowl because that offense was unstoppable. But that Chiefs defense has been sus this all year.
Shit, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Titans knock the Chiefs off. They're a run heavy team, and the Chiefs shown they can't stop the run.
The Titans don't have the defensive pressure to put the Titans don't have the pressure to put on Patrick Mahomes. If if Baltimore was more than one-dimensional offensively, I would have Baltimore beating the Chiefs. Because Baltimore has the best defense and that part in the divisional round to play against the Chiefs, except for the Steelers and the Colts. But neither one of them would see.
Not to the championship.
Yeah, I mean, unless the Colts beat Buffalo. If Colts beat Buffalo, then the Colts would play against the Chiefs, and then we have a whole different ball game.
Yeah, it's true.
And
but
then
it's gonna hard to count.
The NFC, I have
Green Bay versus the Saints. In your eyes, I got Green Bay versus Seattle.
I have. If it's Green Bay versus the Saints, I have the Saints. If it's Green Bay versus Seattle, I have Green Bay.
If Seattle does beat Green Bay in your eyes, are we going to forgive Drew Brees for how he acted in the beginning of the season?
How did he act?
Well, the comments that he said about, I think it was like the
me and everything.
Yes.
Oh, no, I don't forgive him for that. I'm not picking the Saints off of Drew Brees.
Good job.
Off of their whole team and how it's organized top to bottom. Also, this is their only chance to win because if they don't win, then they're screwed.
This might be their last chance. I see Drew Brees is getting ready to close the door on his career. That's what I was going to say. But no, I think it's actually at Green Bay's time. This is Green Bay versus. I got Green Bay beating Seattle in this case to play against the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl, which is definitely how would not picture this season going. But Green Bay and Buffalo Super Bowl.
I didn't see Buffalo making it to the Super Bowl, but I got Buffalo in the Super Bowl, and then I do have the Saints. I did pick the Saints to go to the Super Bowl since the beginning of the season, so it could be the Saints, and I could partially be right, or it can be Green Bay. And if it's Green Bay, in that case, I have Buffalo winning the Super Bowl. I don't trust that Green Bay defense either. I just think that Aaron Rodgers is just that good.
I can agree that Aaron Rodgers is that good. That's why I'm sticking with it. But that's one of the games I would have to witness all the other games. Like I have to witness the wild card, witness the divisional and the conference championship before I can say like, okay, for a fact I'm ready to put money down on this game because I know that Green Bay is going to win it.
And I know this won't happen because winning Offensive Player of the Year and MVP is always a quarterback thing. But if Buffalo does make it to the AFC Championship, and if Buffalo does make it to the Super Bowl, I feel like MVP should go to Stephon Diggs because he turned that whole offense around. Because this offense was not that capable of making it this far, or even making it thus far in our heads as we're going over scenarios.
Right.
Stephon Diggs.
You know, for a big arm quarterback, he needs a deep threat receiver to really show off his talents. He can't do these West Coast offense dink and dunk 5-yard, 10-yard passes. It's not truly showcasing his skill. I feel like this was a great trade. This was a great trade that made happen for Buffalo. So congrats to the Vikings. You set up the Buffalo Bills. If Buffalo wins the championship, they got to send them a postcard. They got to send Minnesota something saying thank you. This would not have happened without them being so incompetent. But I digress. You did a great job with Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook. Where do you go from there?
Actually, they wish who they picked to be their number one receiver now.
Oh God.
Thielen. Anyway, any final words?
For those who saw it in my background, that was my sister. She had on do-rag, just so we're clear.
I didn't see her. I didn't pay attention.
I know. I saw her. But at my final words, leave us a comment, subscribe to our channel. We always love to hear your comments. You can tell me how stupid I look, how big Malik forehead is, whichever one floats your boat. And on that note, this has been Love It. I'm out. Malik, send us off.
Watch out. COVID's still rampant. Brush your teeth and stay safe. We out.